So, I think most of us have had that experience as a kid, right? Where you find a piece of cut glass.
Oh, yeah. Like from a chandelier or something, right?
Exactly, yeah, chandelier or maybe one of those really heavy glass paperweights, and you hold it up to the sunlight pouring through the window,
Mm-hmm.
and you just have this expectation that the light passing through it is going to be plain, transparent, white light. But instead, it hits the wall and just shatters into this incredibly complex, brilliant rainbow.
It's basically magic when you're a kid.
Right. It takes something that seems entirely uniform and reveals that it was actually carrying this vast hidden spectrum of color the entire time. And I mean, we tend to view ourselves like that plain white light, don't we?
Definitely. Solid, straightforward, maybe a bit simplistic.
Yeah. But the source we're looking at today, luminous alignment, the spiritual power of the prism, it challenges that entire assumption right out of the gate.
It really does. It flips it completely.
It does. And our mission for this deep dive is to explore how the geometric shape of the prism functions as like this profound metaphysical framework. Not just an optical tool, but a way of understanding your physical body, your spiritual healing, and ultimately your life purpose.
Yeah, and it requires completely reevaluating your relationship with geometry and really your own physical form.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the core premise here establishes that shapes actually possess their own specific frequencies, right?
Mm-hmm.
By interacting with these sacred shapes, you are channeling very specific, targeted consciousness.
What's fascinating here is how this concept is grounded in the idea of a healing prism.
Right.
Because, this isn't just about going to a boutique and buying a little glass triangle to put on your desk.
I mean, you can do that, but
Right, you can, but when you make the intention to connect with a healing prism, you're actually accessing a realm of pure divine frequencies in the universe.
wow.
Yeah. It is this energetic destination created explicitly to heal your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies.
Okay, so before we can explore how to tap into that healing destination, there is this massive paradigm shift we have to make based on the text.
Yeah, a huge one.
Because we aren't just independent operators using prisms as like tools. The framework insists that we are the prisms. Like the physical body is a literal representation of a prism.
And if you think about the mechanics of that, the function of a human being in this framework is to take in light, transform it, and then express it in a complex, varied way.
And light here is explicitly defined as truth and reality.
Exactly. So as a human prism, you're absorbing the raw, unfiltered truth of the universe. Then you're processing it through the density of your physical form and finally radiating it outward as a subjective experience.
I love the analogy they use to illustrate this, by the way, comparing the human body to an instrument, like a guitar or a piano.
It's a great visual.
It really is. Like harmonies are being played through these instruments just as the universe plays through us. It literally frames human existence as the universe experiencing itself.
Which is such a profound way to look at it.
Yeah. And the light we take in and reflect out is synonymous with our soul, or, our infinity. When the physical prism decays in what we call death, that light transcends because it fundamentally cannot be created or destroyed.
Right, the light just keeps going.
But, reading through that guitar analogy, a philosophical question kept coming up for me.
Oh, what was that?
Well, if we are the instrument, right, and the universe is the one playing the harmonies through us, how much control do we actually have over the music? Or the light we're reflecting? Are we just like passive glass sitting in the sun?
That tension between destiny and agency is, well, it's exactly where the concept of boundaries comes into play.
Hmm.
The text talks about the prism representing not only our physical form, but the boundaries of our morality.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that is where your agency lies. Let's look at why that matters.
Yeah.
If you are just pure, unbounded light, there is no definition. There's no unique song.
It's just all white light.
Exactly. The physical form, your specific body, your mind, your individual moral boundaries, and even your personal flaws, that dictates exactly how that pure, universal light bends and becomes complex.
So wait, our limitations are actually what give us our unique color.
Precisely. It's the opposite of a trap. We are eternal beings having a bounded physical experience, and those boundaries are the mechanism for expression.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, without the hard edges of the prism, the light never shatters into a rainbow. Your personal moral choices, the way you navigate hardships, your particular emotional boundaries, these act as the internal angles of your personal prism.
So they bend the universal truth in a way that only you can. That
Yes.
reframes human flaws in a really, really beautiful way. But, just like any instrument, a guitar can get out of tune.
Oh, definitely.
And a physical prism can get smudged or chipped or just misaligned by trauma or daily stress. If our boundaries get distorted, the light we cast is going to be distorted too, right?
Right.
So how do we actually repair that alignment according to this text?
Well, this is what moves us from the philosophical setup into the active, multidimensional healing process. The framework introduces what they call a sacred healing tent.
Okay.
And again, this is accessed purely via mind and intention, not physical space. You sit quietly and project your consciousness into a pyramid of healing light. Or, if you have a localized issue, you visualize a smaller version of this pyramid covering a specific aching joint or organ.
Hold on, though. I have to push back a bit on the invisible nature of this process.
Sure, go ahead.
Because the claim is that inside this transformational space, we are absorbing, quote, energetic nutrients that transmute lower vibrations.
Yes, that's the terminology they use.
But if this is entirely mental and invisible, what does this all mean for someone who struggles to trust a healing process they can't physically see? Like, how do we know we aren't just sitting quietly in an empty room experiencing a placebo effect?
It's a fair question. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the text actually requires an active partnership with this benevolent energy. Let's break down the mechanism of what an energetic nutrient is supposed to be doing.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Think of your misaligned energy, the pain or the trauma, as a dissonant frequency. It's vibrating at a level that disrupts your body's natural harmony.
Right.
When you visualize this sacred healing tent, you are actively inviting in specific codes of light. You can think of these codes almost like software patches for your energetic body.
Software patches, I like that.
They carry a higher, highly organized frequency overseen by angels and benevolent energies. When this high-frequency code interacts with the low-frequency dissonance in your body, the principle of entrainment takes over.
Oh, so the lower vibration cannot maintain its chaotic state in the presence of that pure, structured light.
Exactly. It dissipates and is transmuted.
So it's essentially acoustic resonance applied to spiritual energy. The stronger, purer frequency forces the weaker, chaotic frequency to align with it.
That is the exact mechanism. And addressing your skepticism about the placebo effect, the process anticipates that. It doesn't ask for blind faith.
It doesn't.
No, it outlines tangible feedback. When this frequency matching happens, you shouldn't just feel nothing. You're supposed to experience physical symptoms of the shift.
Like what kind of symptoms?
Sudden tingling, stimulated blood flow, a literal sensation of heat or energy moving within the body. The physical relief is the lagging indicator of the energetic shift.
Which makes sense if the subtle energy body and the physical body are inextricably linked.
Exactly.
And there's a fascinating external application to this, too, in the reading. It states you can actually send this intelligent prism of light to clients or friends or family members while they sleep.
Yeah, the non-local application of healing. Because the healing prism is an energetic destination, it isn't bound by physical proximity.
Right.
When someone is sleeping, their conscious mind, which often acts as a rigid barrier of skepticism or stress, is relaxed. Sending the healing tent to them allows those same codes of light to interact with their subtle body without their waking mind blocking the transmission.
But there is a very specific protocol for closing this process, right? Whether you are doing it for yourself or someone else, you can't just absorb the light and walk away.
No, the final step is crucial. You have to say a prayer of thanks to the healing prism once the process feels complete.
To close the loop.
Exactly. Acknowledging the healing grounds, that invisible, multidimensional exchange into your conscious physical reality. It shifts you from a state of asking to a state of receiving, which seals the energetic patch.
Okay, so let's follow that light then. We've taken in the pure truth, we've tuned the instrument inside the healing tent, and the chaotic vibrations have been transmuted.
Right.
Now, that healed light has to exit our personal prism. We transition from the pure white light entering us to the vibrant rainbows radiating out into the world.
And that output is the entire purpose of the human experience. Prisms create rainbow light, and this specific spectrum inherently aligns with your chakras.
From the base of the spine all the way up to the crown.
Yep. When you are properly aligned, the rainbow radiating out of you perfectly charges those internal energy centers, unlocking your most beautiful, compassionate self.
And the vocabulary we use around this output is so deeply rooted in the concept of wisdom.
It really is.
Like when we suddenly understand something complex, we call it a light bulb moment. When we gain a new perspective, we say we are seeing things in a new light. To teach someone is to enlighten them.
Right. It's baked into our language.
Exactly. And this framework positions this kind of light not just as intelligence, but as spiritual weapon. It is the truth from the benevolent spiritual realm actively overcoming the deception of the evil spiritual realm. Light represents hope and salvation from the darkness of sin.
Which brings us to the physics of spiritual warfare.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting. Because this epic spiritual battle is grounded in a basic, undeniable rule of physical reality, the flashlight effect.
Oh, I love this part.
If you walk into a pitch-black room and turn on a flashlight, the photons instantly dispel the darkness. But you cannot invent a dark light to shadow a brightly lit room.
Right. You can't shine a beam of darkness.
No. Darkness has no active property. It is merely the absence of light. Therefore, darkness fundamentally cannot dispel light. The light always wins the physical space.
It's a great physical rule.
It is, and I marvel at how this translates to overcoming spiritual discouragement. How does that physical rule apply to our internal emotional struggles?
It applies through the indestructible uniqueness of your soul. We established that the pure light hits your personal boundaries and shatters into a rainbow, right?
Right.
Well, the Creator's love refracts your soul's light into a unique spectrum of gifts. Things like spiritual sight, hearing, the capacity for deep connection, specific healing capacities.
Something different for everybody.
Totally different. And these are determined by the makeup of your soul and the filtering of your mind.
The filtering of the mind. That's the boundary concept again.
Let's take that a step further. Your individuality, your specific traumas, your life experiences, they act as that filter.
Okay.
Suppose you have gone through immense grief. That experience shapes your internal prism. The light that shines through that specific facet of your prism might emerge as an incredibly potent frequency of empathy.
Wow. Okay.
So when you encounter someone else drowning in the darkness of despair, your specific color of empathy is custom built to cut through their exact darkness.
So the darkness of discouragement doesn't stand a chance because your uniquely colored refraction isn't just a pretty aura. It is a highly specialized precision tool for spiritual truth.
Exactly. The darkness can't overwhelm it because your light was literally forged by your experiences to dismantle it.
That's incredible.
Your human flaws and struggles aren't blocking the light. They're creating the precise laser focus needed to heal the world around you.
That is such an empowering realization. It frames your past experiences as the very architecture that gives your light its power.
It really does.
But if our internal energy is refracted like a rainbow, how do we structure our external lives to capture and utilize it? This brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the physical geometry itself.
Yes. We move from the metaphysical output to the tangible structures, the physical roadmap of your spiritual destiny. The symbolic meaning of the shapes you interact with dictates the kind of energy you are inviting in.
So let's start with the triangle. The text says the base of a triangle represents a strong, unshakable foundation.
Right.
But it isn't static. It's explicitly designed to launch you upward into a higher reality. It's almost like a geometric launching pad.
And then the full 3D prism symbolizes achieving balance after a difficult decision. It represents reaching a flow state.
Like when athletes are in the zone.
Exactly. In psychological terms, flow is when you are so immersed in an activity that time disappears. In this spiritual framework, flow is when your mind, body, and spirit converge perfectly. You are completely spiritually activated by whatever you are doing. The alignment is absolute.
It even notes that if you start seeing prisms everywhere in your daily life, like in architecture or in shadows or art, it shouldn't be dismissed as a coincidence.
Definitely not a coincidence.
It acts as an omen sent by your spirit guides. It is a geometric alarm clock telling you it's time to break from your current stagnant path and start living your highest purpose.
A literal call to action encoded in geometry.
But reading through these angular, sharp geometric rules, there's a sudden and really fascinating pivot in the material. We jump from sharp triangles and prisms to smooth crystal eggs.
Right, which might seem random at first, but the shift in geometry signifies a shift in the required energy.
Yeah. Because crystal eggs are presented as the ultimate symbol of fertility. It points to feng shui practices of placing them in the bedroom to promote pregnancy and safe childbirth. But then it applies that same energy to entrepreneurs embarking on a new business venture, noting that the egg provides courage and success.
Yes.
And when I was trying to connect the dots between the sharp prism and the smooth egg, it seemed to represent two distinct halves of a single process. Like, if the angular prism is all about finding balance and pointing you toward your highest purpose, the crystal egg represents the actual birthing or incubation of that new purpose.
This raises an important question, or, well, answers one, really, about how different shapes serve entirely different phases of your life journey.
They aren't interchangeable at all.
No, not at all. A prism is a catalyst.
Yeah.
It cracks you open, aligns your chakras, gets you into that flow state, and shows you the higher reality.
Right.
But you can't just live in a transcendent, floating flow state forever. Eventually, you have to bring those massive spiritual ideas down into the dense physical world. You have to build the business, write the book, raise the child.
You have to do the work.
Exactly. That requires a completely different energetic frequency. The egg provides the foundational fertility, the protective incubation, and the raw courage needed to physically manifest those ethereal ideas into reality.
So the prism gives you the vision of what could be, and the egg gives you the courage and protection to actually birth it into the world.
That's beautifully put. It brings the entire journey we've been tracking full circle.
It really does.
Yeah.
We started by looking at our physical bodies not as mere flesh and bone, but as cosmic instruments. We are living prisms, capable of projecting our consciousness into a sacred healing tent to absorb invisible, resonant codes of light.
And we explored the mechanism of how that pure, universal truth enters us. We saw how the specific boundaries of our morality, our traumas, and our experiences don't block the light, but rather refract it into a highly specialized rainbow of gifts.
A light that physically and spiritually cannot be extinguished by darkness. And we decoded how the geometry of the universe, from the launching pad of a triangle to the incubating courage of a crystal egg, provides us with the tangible tools to build our spiritual destiny in the real world.
Yeah.
The ultimate value of this deep dive for you, the listener, is a complete reframing of how you view your place in the universe. You are not just a passive body moving through a random, chaotic world.
No, you're not.
You are an eternal prism, continuously taking in the raw reality of the cosmos, filtering it through the beautiful imperfections of your humanity, and radiating a unique truth that no one else can replicate.
It fundamentally changes the value of your individual existence, but it also leaves us with one final lingering thread to consider.
Oh, what's that?
Well, the framework states that when the physical prism, your body, eventually decays at the end of this life, the light inside transcends because it cannot be destroyed.
Right, the light transcends.
So I want you to ponder this. If your specific bounded physical body is the filter that creates your distinct rainbow of personality, empathy, and gifts, what happens to those beautiful specific colors when the physical prism is finally gone? Does your unique colored rainbow imprint its specific frequency on the universe forever? Or do you surrender those colors and return to the pure, unrefracted white light you started as?